So maybe the player that was the story of the NCAA tournament was DJ Burns. This is a guy that everybody, and I mean everybody, was talking about for the entire NCAA tournament run. And he's a guy that everybody thought was going to go to the NFL. Turns out, no, he's still looking to make an NBA roster. And to be honest, he's after losing a lot of weight. Before we get on, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We're less than 500 subscribers away from getting 5K. If we could somehow hit that by the end of the weekend, that would be absolutely insane. But anyway, now let's get on to the video. So DJ Burns has lost 45 pounds, according to him, without Ozempic, which is kind of wild that players have to say that, because you're like, well, you are an elite athlete. You were a lot more than 45 pounds overweight. A good personal trainer, a good workout routine, and a good diet. Yeah, losing that in, that's 45 pounds, 20 kilos. Losing that in 2 months, it's doable. It's definitely doable. But what does his NBA future look like? So a lot of people were talking about him potentially going to the NFL. Obviously, because he can move extremely well at the size he was. Like, the guy was a very large man. He was like near 300 pounds, and I think 300 pounds might have been a low estimate, to be honest, for what he was. And if you looked at the way he was coming into college, it wasn't like he was skinny coming into college, but he wasn't that big. Went to Winthrop, was good at Winthrop. Honestly, really good as a freshman. Was good for a couple of years. Like, I'm pretty sure he was a year below Zion and was ranked kind of similarly to a Zion Williamson. Sorry, not ranked similarly to a Zion. Ranked in like the same state, because I think I saw something where it was like he was the third ranked player in the state or something behind Zion. Obviously not ranked similarly to Zion. Jeez, no one was ranked similarly to Zion. I don't know what I said that for. But he obviously came in, was pretty good as a freshman, played his 5 years of college, and really shot up through the NCAA tournament, where I think it was Duke just could not guard him. They couldn't guard him. He was very big. And if you look at the NBA, you might be saying, okay, yeah, Kenneth Lofton Jr., he's a bucket. But like, one, he's lost a ton of weight. Two, even with the ton of weight he's lost, he's not getting much of a look in. And people were talking about DJ Burns going to the NFL. And I think, look, being 6'9", being the weight he was at and being able to move the way he could, I don't think it's against, like, it's out of realm possibility that he could have became an NFL player. What I do think is that it's probably, look, I hate saying this, but it's probably completely out around possibility that he is an NBA player. Sorry, let me tilt that. But yeah, I don't see any scenario that he makes the league, and I don't see any scenario where he gets much of a look in. However, people are saying, oh, maybe you should take a risk with him in the second round pick because of how bad this draft is. It's like, oh, if Bronny's a second round pick, he's 24 years old. He's 24 years old by the time the season starts. Like, this guy is older than Tyrese Maxey. So it's not like he's this ultra young player. He's like 4 years older than Bronny James. So, okay, cool. He had a good college run. He's not going to be able to do anything at the NBA level. But what I do think, like, there's no chance he gets drafted. But what I do think is he's probably, him losing the weight might mean that a team just takes a chance on him in Summer League. Like, we've seen some bad players, like some not very good basketball players over the years playing the NBA Summer League, that they've just been given a chance, and look, it's going to be the last real time they get in close to the NBA. They might go G League. There might be some guys going into the G League, but in general, yeah, I can't really see a scenario where, like, he's a super high draft pick or a draft pick at all. And I can't see a scenario where he makes it really from Summer League. I can see a scenario where he does well in Summer League. Like, we can't forget, Kenneth Lofton Jr. played bully ball on Chet. After Chet's first Summer League game, people thought he was like the next Dirk. He looked ridiculously good. And then Kenneth Lofton Jr. bullied the man. He absolutely bullied Chet Holmgren for the rest of Summer League. And I think DJ Burns might do that. He's just physically big. He is a large man, and he can play. Like, he was a good basketball player in high school. He's been a really good basketball player in college. He just had a really bad, like, he just had a big time weight problem. And that's the thing where it's like, even if you can lose the weight, what's to say you don't put it back on again? And that is always like, look, that's always a risk when it comes to NBA players. Like, even if you look at someone like Caleb Swanigan, rest in peace. Obviously, there were other stuff going on, but like, he was someone who was extremely heavy as a kid, lost a whole bunch of weight, got into the NBA, and we obviously saw before he ended up passing what happened with him just kind of blowing it up. Because to get to the size DJ Burns got, a lot, especially while playing pro sports, there has to be something else. There has to be a reason he got that big. And regardless of losing the weight, I don't think teams are going to take the risk on a player potentially ballooning up like that again. Like, Boris Diaw almost ate his way out of the league. Like, Boris Diaw literally had clauses in his contract where if he would get bonuses if he showed up under a certain weight in preseason, and he never did. He never did. And Boris Diaw was not half the size of DJ Burns. It is hard. Like, it's genuinely hard if you've let yourself get to weigh above 300 pounds to get to the probably 250 that he needs to be to play in the NBA. Not even to play in the NBA, to survive in the NBA, to survive at all and maintain that, especially in off seasons. It's hard. And honestly, I do think that if DJ Burns ends up playing in shape, staying in shape, he'll kill it somewhere. I don't think that's going to be the NBA. I think with the way he plays, his ability, I think he will absolutely kill it somewhere. But sometimes the NBA is just a step too far. Like, we've seen, again, the best example I can give is somebody that is like on the heavier side, but is a bucket, is Kenneth Lofton Jr. The man looks like the best player in the world when he plays in the G League. He had 40 points in a game in his rookie year. Like, he's killing it in Summer League. There are leagues overseas that Kenneth Lofton Jr. could go to and outperform NBA players. It's just, he's maybe not quite at the level of the NBA, especially because of the defense, because of the way the game's played, and the way he kind of relies on his play style. And for a lot of people, it's NBA or bust. And I do think DJ Burns, if he does have the attitude of NBA or bust, that could be the worst thing for his career. Because there are some players that legitimately could become legends overseas. And if you don't have the NBA or bust attitude, you can become a legend and make so much money if you're good enough. And I think there are a lot of guys that their NBA careers fizzle out really young and they end up retiring really young, that if they didn't have the NBA or bust mentality, they could have had a long career somewhere else and became a legend overseas. But at the end of the day, look, it's very easy for me to say that as somebody from Ireland who's been watching European basketball, saying, like, I remember when Kemba Walker went to Monaco being like, why are people saying that it's sad? He gets to make millions of dollars, live in paradise with no tax, and gets to play in a really good league. And Kemba Walker sucked at Monaco, and he still made a lot of money. People are like, oh, it's sad he's gone from the league. I'm like, he would have been a vet minimum player in the NBA, made 6 times more money in Monaco and got to live in Monaco. But look, it's easy to say as someone from Europe that there are some places in Europe that are better to live in, that would be better living in some place in the States. And look, some people don't want to leave home, and that's fine. But when it comes to DJ Burns, like, he has lost away. I hope he keeps it off. I hope he gives Summer League a run. And I hope, I'm going to say if he doesn't make the league, when he doesn't make the league, that hopefully after a year or two of him thinking it's NBA or bust, hopefully he ends up coming overseas, because he's the type of player that could absolutely dominate. He could be a complete baller overseas. But I just think the NBA is a step too far, especially with the way the league has gone.